And now, this week's Sarcastic Gamer headlines. Bum, 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 ba-da-ba-da-dum.
Are you serious? I thought you don't have any music? I thought you had this all set up, Tech Man. I'm writing headlines. You're supposed to get this ready. You said we were going to hear music.
I've been making videos and stuff trying to get this thing to work, and it won't work. I can't figure it out.
Oh, my God. You're such a friggin' amateur. You're ruining this for me. You're ruining this for me. And the people watching. Well,
it's possible. It's possible the people watching actually just did see it, but I don't know. And now this week's Sarcastic Gamer headlines. Bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-da-dum. There's no edit here. There's no editing. We're live.
Bungie released an alpha version of their latest shooter called Destiny to PS4 owners this week. After a steady stream of feedback, Bungie is looking to change the name of Destiny to something more fitting based on feedback from players. Options being considered are Halo Lands, Underwhelming Lands, and Super Serious Borderlands.
Was it really that close of a clone to Borderlands?
No, it's not fun. So I would say they cloned everything else except for like the fun factor, but everything else. Oh, and there's one less player, so you can't play 4 people. It's only 3. So yeah, we'll get into that.
All right. Ba-ba-da-ba.
Xbox press conference at E3 did not mention the Kinect. Some say this signals the end of the Kinect in the Xbox One, which means the unfortunate end of all of the unfinished games for the Kinect that will never see the light of day, including such vaporware as Half-Life 3 Kinect, The Last Guardian Kinect, and of course, the obvious Kinect 4.
Oh, yeah, of course, Kinect 4. We knew that was coming. Everyone
Seriously,
knew.
Why is there not a Kinect 4 game for the Kinect? Why? Why?
Ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-bum.
At least do the friggin' music right. Jesus. Every time you do the music, it's different.
Hey, man, I'm just doing my best here.
All right. And finally!
Finally!
Oh, Jesus. Released prisoner Bo Bergdahl was brought to the United States today after being released from prison in Afghanistan, where he spent more than 5 years under the reign of the Taliban. Bergdahl commented that he was looking forward to a great hamburger, internet porn, and, of course, spending 5 more years in prison for desertion.
Man, this is one of those stories where I'm afraid to even get near it. There's a lot of very polarized views about this guy. Some people are just convinced he's a traitor. Some people are convinced that he's one of ours and we never leave him behind. And everybody seems to be against what Obama did to get him home. I'm just gonna stay a million miles from that on this one because it's just very, very divisive.
I think the bottom line is you always bring your guys home. I don't like what they did to it, but I don't like the ceremony and all the pomp and circumstance that has gone into it. Obama has been parading this guy around like it's the frickin' political triumph of his career. This guy is a deserter. He's a dirtbag. Yes, you bring your people home, but you do it quietly and you move on. This is not a White House ceremony. This is not somebody that you get up and salute. He deserted his post. He deserves due process, but we move on.
We will move on. And who's deserted us a few times?
And he's yet to spend any time in prison that we know of.
Ladies and gentlemen, 8-bit bass.
Are you going to sing the show tune down?
Let's do it. You do it better. Keep going. Keep going.
Let's do it.
All right, welcome to it. This is the 14th episode of the... You got to fade out a little as we go. It's the 14th episode of the Sarcastic Gamer podcast. I am Doc. He is Lono. He's in Chicago, Illinois. We are in low tech until we figure this whole Google Hangouts thing out. So you're hearing I know it's going to be hard to believe, but a lot of the noises and sound effects you're hearing today are actually generated by our voices. Crazy.
It's, the funny thing about this is nobody's going to know all the hard work we put into it because it's just going to seem flawless to them.
Well, the
But
guys on the audio podcast, I mean, the guys on the video who are watching us on our YouTube channel and Sarcastic Gamer on YouTube, they're right now, the magic's blown for them, but the guys on the audio podcast right now are freaking out. They're like, we just blew their mind.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that the people who are listening to this on a podcast are definitely going to tune in next week as well because it's so good.
Well, we haven't been back in a while, and there's a couple of, 8 good reasons for that. But first and foremost, Lono is no longer where he used to be. And that's one of the biggest reasons we have not been on the air the last couple of weeks. Lono was without internet. It was a hellacious move.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it, man. How do you not want to move?
Yeah, it's like I don't really want to talk about it because it sucked. But I was without internet until last Wednesday, and we didn't record because our schedules couldn't match up until today. But honestly, I don't even have hot water in my apartment. I'm like a fucking squatter right now in this place. I don't have hot water. I didn't have cable till a couple days ago. I just got some keys. Like literally, I'm in this place and it's like I'm really not supposed to.
You just got keys. Isn't that part of the whole welcome to your new home, Mr. Lono? Here's your
there's no washer and dryer. It's a sorry state of affairs. The funny thing is, if you ask me what I'd rather have, I only get one: hot water or internet and cable.
All right.
Well, internet and cable comes in the same thing, so I'm taking internet and cable all day. All day.
If you have internet and cable, there's so much going on in gaming and on television. You just want to get a quick shower anyway. That'll force you to.
Absolutely. Now I take a shower like somebody who's living, I don't know, without hot water, up in the Appalachians or wherever the people live.
Do a lot of opera singing when you get in?
I can't. I did that once. It was the worst. Have you ever had a really cold shower where you're so numb when you're done? It is the worst thing ever. And the soap doesn't get off of you because the cold water doesn't do well with it. So now I have these 2 big pots that I warm up with water, and then I take a beautiful sponge bath. I get my loofah, and I just go to town, baby. Go to town.
Well, what's great about with our new format, you could actually demonstrate for us. You could actually go take a shower. You could go take a sponge bath right now.
And the worst thing about it is I can't even get a good shave. And, upstairs is fine, but downstairs hasn't been trimmed in forever. It's so bad now. I shampoo up here and down here. I have to use shampoo.
Make sure you condition.
Can't use bar soap. Yeah, I mean, there's too much down there.
All right, well, listen, we have had a lot going on besides Lono's move. I'm sorry you had such a rough move. I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad we're kind of getting back in the saddle here, although we're still figuring out this whole video podcast thing, which we're converting to our audio podcast. But a couple big things happened since we last recorded. I went to E3, got to see a couple really cool things there. I didn't get to go to the press conferences. You probably actually saw a lot more of the news and stuff from that, from E3. And then Lono got into not one, but at least 2 betas that I know of. And yep. I got addicted to a PC game. What?
Well, we actually have so much game to talk about. We're going to split this up. We're going to do mostly E3 stuff today. When we record again later this week, I don't know, Wednesday when we normally record. Right. So today we're going to talk about the Battlefield Hardline beta. We're going to talk about Destiny. We're going to talk about Doc's time with
War Thunder.
With War Thunder, and then we're going to come back on the next show. We're going to hit up Wolfenstein. We're going to hit up some of the games Doc played at E3, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Tomb Raider or maybe whatever else we played since then. I know also Pixel Junk Shooter's out on the PS4, and there's a lot going on in gaming right now.
Yeah, there is a whole lot. But the betas, I think we should just go ahead and continue with Destiny because you talked about that on the way in on our headlines. Obviously, it's a whole lot of hype that went into Destiny. It's been going on. I mean, Bungie being the studio that brought us Halo and pretty much just Halo, but Halo. This has been their big comeback, their big, Bungie's rebirth. We're more than just one game, and here's Destiny that dropped in your lap as a beta. How'd that go?
They dropped beta invites for the weekend. I'm not sure how long it runs for. I've actually put a considerable amount of time. I think I've probably put in about 6 or 8 hours into the beta. I've hit the level cap. I'm still able to unlock different powers, even though my level cap is locked. I played through a lot of what the game is offering. The graphics it's in alpha, and that's the excuse that everybody's giving this thing. But here's a couple of things about alphas for people that may not be all that into, what an alpha is, what a beta is. An alpha is the early look at the game. It's a build of this game that is playable, but it hasn't even reached the beta stage. So they go alpha, beta, then gold, they release the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in time, we're playing an alpha. Now, this version of this game, if it's an alpha and it's playable now for people, it's probably been playable for a considerable amount of time, maybe even a month or two. Okay.
Okay.
They don't just have this thing ready and drop it for people. So what's in this game is what's going to be in the game. They're going to tweak, server stability. They're going to tweak maybe damage mods for weapons. They're going to tweak some of the powers. But the way the game is played, how the game works, the hub world, how you interact with stuff, none of that stuff is going to change, okay? And I've played through a bunch of it, and I got to say, it is just boring. It is just a boring video game.
Damn it! I hate it when that happens.
So you have all of your traditional, I know, I mean, it's you start off in this hub, like, the thing that boggles my mind about this game is why is it a massively multiplayer online game? There is no reason. This game does not. There's nothing in the alpha that indicates to me why this needs to be an MMO. You can play this game without going to the hub world, without having to interact with people, and then you would lose nothing. You really would lose nothing from the game. You can only create a 3-man fire team. The fire team is your group, okay?
Uh-huh.
You go down to the planet's surface. There's only one area open now, so you can explore that area. And you get missions from these little blinking lights that you can find on your hub. You do the mission, you get your next mission, so on and so forth. Then they have these strike missions, which are individually localized, enclosed areas that you can go to, where you fight some bosses. You'll have different stages of the fight, with an end goal. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So all that's well and good, and anybody that's played Halo knows that the combat mechanics in the game are really good. That the way the AI reacts, what they do, the way that you interact, the way that the guns feel, the melee attacks, all that stuff. It's very Halo. Okay.
Okay.
So where we're at with this game is obviously a new setting, still sci-fi. You're dealing with characters that are roughly extremely similar to Halo. And then you get to these boss fights, okay? The boss fight in this game, there's 2 different boss fights in the strike. The first one is a giant tank that you have to fight. just changing it up a little bit.
No, they can't see now. This is an accident. I didn't mean to do this. I'm so sorry. I can't make it stop. Oh,
make it stop.
Ah! Oh, please stop.
You know what Doc's favorite holiday is? Arbor Day.
Arbor Day. All right, how do I make this end? Just please try to keep going and ignore my face, please.
All right, Doc's made a funny face on the Google Hangout. All right, so the boss fight is you fight this giant tank, and it's just got 1 billion hit points. So you literally just shoot at it for what seems like 15, 20 minutes until it finally dies. You're literally emptying clip after clip after clip. The thing doesn't move, okay? It just sits there shooting at you. It is the most god-awfully boring thing I've ever played. Yes, you have to move around to avoid getting shot, but all I'm doing is shooting a bullet sponge until the 10 billion hit points are reduced to 0. And the thing probably has 10,000 hit points, and every time I hit it, it does fucking 60 damage. Okay? Right. So it takes forever. And then the next boss fight is almost identical. You're doing the same exact thing, except instead of looking down the tank, you're looking up at like a spherical, stupid object.
Okay.
And then you're done with the mission. And the worst part about it is after you spend 20 minutes fighting this giant tank and dying 10 times and doing your best to survive, what does the thing drop for loot? Nothing.
Nothing.
So you do all this, you get no rewards out of it, and then you finish the map and you go back, and you're just like, what what am I doing? What is the purpose of this? Is the purpose of this game the actual fighting, or is the purpose of the game to get cool loot, make your guy look, tweak your guy out, get new weapons? And people say, online people are raving about this game, and I gotta say, I know a lot of people that have really found this game to be a huge turnoff. And beware of the people that are liking this game, because those people are also very friendly with people at Bungie that I am personally aware of. So just be careful about who you trust.
Jeez. Man, you're sounding all kinds of, I don't know.
Conspiratorial?
Conspiratorial, yeah, like you got this figured out.
Well, look, the bottom line is I've played about 6 hours of it, and, it's a competent shooter, but it was just thoroughly unimpressive. Thoroughly unimpressive. You have questions?
Well, I have a couple questions. First of all, is how do I get the camera to come off of your face? It's only you. But I wonder though, if because it's in that. Well, no, actually, my first question was how often do you run up on other people that are playing the alpha or the beta or whatever?
Well, you can run into them on the main world, and you can even run into them during the strike mission, but there's no interaction. And in fact, I don't even know how to make your voice chat work with people that are in your fire team if they're not in your party. And if you don't have a party and you're just in your strike team or your fire team, I don't know how to talk to them. So you run across these people, but you can't interact with them other than doing like a stupid gesture. So it's completely meaningless. So you run into people. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
So it really doesn't matter. You're not getting anything out of doing this from having another couple thousand people in the server. Or do you have any idea? Is there any sense of how many people are actually on the same shard or server or whatever with you?
Well, when I was in the hub world, I probably ran across maybe 20 different people. So I have no idea what that means because you don't set up an individual server. I have no way of knowing if there's multiple servers. I have no idea. But I got to say that there's nothing about it that makes it an MMO. There's no reason to have this. I don't understand why they've gone this route. Now, there's just a lot of weird, dumb things. All the guns look the same. Like if you have an auto rifle is what they call it, they all look the same. They're colored differently, but they're all the same. You have a pulse rifle, they all look the same. You have a rocket launcher, they all look the same. There's very little difference, okay? And then you get armor, and it's like you put this armor on your guy, and apparently you can change the color of it, but I don't know how. So I'm putting all this mismatch armor on because it's like the best thing that I have.
You're like me in my early 20s dressing yourself. I mean, nothing matches.
Nothing matches, and which is annoying. And then these missions are all the same. You collect missions over and over and over again. Apparently there's some missions that are slightly different, but it was really just like shoot things until the buzzer goes off and you go to the next mission. It was just I'm just extremely disappointed in it. The more that I play it, the more I found it to be.
You don't think it could be just like an alpha thing? You don't think it could be like just something that's going to get rectified or something, or is it just literally missing fun?
I don't know how you rectify the boss battle being shoot the bullet sponge until it dies. You know what I mean? Like that's the mission, and that's not fun. There's nothing fun about it. It's just like it's like you might as well just in the game turn and shoot at the wall and just keep pulling the trigger mindlessly over and over and over and over again. And the worst part about this game, there's some glitches too. So let's say I've got a secondary weapon and I have full ammo. I've been collecting this ammo. I'm saving it for the boss battle. Then I decide to go in my inventory and switch the secondary weapon I had a sniper rifle, and I switched it over to a shotgun because I needed a shotgun. So I switched over to the shotgun, thinking all of my secondary ammo that I had for it would be useful for the shotgun. No, my shotgun has no ammo now. So I'm like, oh crap, switch back to my sniper rifle. Sniper rifle also has no ammo. Yeah, it's just super weird. It's just and then you can buy ammo, but then like once you use it, you have to wait 5 minutes until you can use an ammo refill again. And when you start the game off, you have 3 different kinds of weapons. You have a primary, secondary, and you have a heavy weapon. Your heavy weapon starts off with 0 ammo every single time, okay? And the only way you can get it is by picking it up off the ground. And it's like, why? Why do you start with 0 ammo? You've got this really cool gun and you can't use it until you kill some things. Those kinds of things can be fixed in the alpha. What I'm telling you about the bullet sponge tank and how the strike worked, that's not going to get changed. That is the game. That is Destiny. That's not going to change.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I just, I mean, look, the bullet glitches, the ammo glitches, that stuff's going to get fixed. But just like the lack of fun. You played Borderlands. You played a ton of Borderlands, okay?
I've finished Borderlands twice.
Yeah, and ostensibly this game is just like Borderlands. You're running around shooting stuff, you're getting XP, you're getting weapons, you're picking up things, yada, yada, yada. But I have to contrast Destiny with Borderlands because it's a very similar game. Except Borderlands has all the style. Borderlands has all the loot. It is few and far between when you get loot in Destiny. I mean, it's just so random. You might go through a strike mission where you played for an hour for that mission, okay? You might pick up 3 pieces of loot. And it's like, what am I doing this for?
If it's a game where you're going to be collecting loot and that's the thing, then you need to give people lots of loot, even if it's crap loot. I mean, Borderlands, everything drops loot, just about. I mean, pretty much everything you kill drops loot. That sounds remarkably boring. But that wasn't the only beta you played, right? You got into another beta or alpha or something this week too, didn't you?
Played the beta for Battlefield Hardline, which is the new Battlefield.
Well, we lost Lono. We're going to try to get him back in here real quick. Let's send him back a note. Lono got a chance to play Battlefield Hardline, and we're going to hear about that in a second while I talk and try to send him another invite. I do want to send a quick thank you out to our Sarcastic supporters. There's a bunch of you guys out there that have been absolutely incredible for us in being Sarcastic supporters and making sure that our website gets to stay up and that we get to keep going and that we get to keep making these shows and just helping us pay the bills. The Sarcastic supporter gets nothing more than anyone else, so it's not like there's a secret show or extra content or anything like that. It's just somebody who has gone through the trouble to become a supporter and has decided that the show has some sort of value to them, whether it's $1 a month, which is fine, that's our coal supporter, or our up to $10 a month, our diamond supporters, and we've got quite a few of those cats running around as well, and you're the guys that keep this thing running. You're the ones who keep the show on and make it possible for us to be back here as often as we are, and we're going to be getting better at this as we go forward. But Sarcastic Gamer Podcast, I know a bunch of you on YouTube were just recently taking a look at the last show, and we're like, wait, you're back? And truth is, we've been back about a year now, but we're just now getting onto the YouTube channel, which is probably an alert to a lot of you guys that we're in here. I just sent him an invite. Lana was headed back into the show. We've got a bunch of great supporters. Just a big thank you to those guys. We're going to try to punch Lano back up here into the show here without seeming too ridiculous. I could play a YouTube video for you right now, but I do not have that queued up for you, so that's dumb. And let's see how this goes. Invite. There he is. He's back. So I just got done thanking all of our Sarcastic supporters and inviting people in. We were just about to hear about your Battlefield Hardline, Lano. Talk to me about your first experiences with Battlefield Hardline.
So Battlefield Hardline is the new game coming out by Visceral this year from EA. They're making this year's Battlefield entry. It's called Battlefield Hardline, which says to me, number one, they're getting away from the numbered battlefields when Visceral makes a game, right? And they're also coming out with this new kind of Battlefield experience where it's cops versus robbers, okay? So Hardline is let's say you're the robbers, right? And this truck so the mission starts, you're a robber, this car explodes, it goes off the freeway and lands goes off an overpass, lands in the underneath, turns over, you're the bad guys, you run up to it, it's an armored truck, you blow open the back of the truck, and now you have to wait a minute to get the loot out, okay? And in the meantime, as a cop, you're hearing the call come in about what happens, and you jump in your car and you race to the scene. Okay?
So this is starting to sound really interesting. So it's all the mechanics that Battlefield fans love about the Battlefield series, but now they've basically just decided that they're no longer obligated to make it about military operations. It can be about this. It can be about heists and bank robbery. That's interesting to me.
Right. So the cops, they get to the scene. You're protecting it. It's attack and defend now, right? Cops are trying to keep you away from getting this loot. You're there to try to get the loot. When the timer goes off and you can get the loot, if you're able to get to the truck, you grab the loot and you run. As a cop, you can turn that timer off and reset it and force the criminals to go back to the truck and try and blow it open again because there's a timer on it. Explosives. So there's back and forth. The action is very focused at this location. There's actually 2 locations when you start, and they're very close to each other. One's on top of the overpass, one's directly below it. There's 2 different armored trucks. So you have 2 areas that you have to go to. So once you get the loot, it becomes like a capture the flag kind of thing where you have to take the loot to the exit area. And there's two exit areas. One.
Oh, no, you've been a fan of the heist type of situation. I mean, you were waiting on that with GTA Forever. Payday is one of your favorite games this year or last year. I can't remember, but
yeah, Payday 2.
So before you go on to the next stage of how that goes, how did it feel? You know, you've talked about the Payday and how like you were like, come on, like trying to get out of there with the stuff when you were doing a heist. Did you have that same kind of feeling about playing Battlefield Hardline?
Hardline is very chaotic. You know, as a beta, the gameplay itself is solid. It's fun. There are things that need to be fixed on it, though. Like, as a new player, I have no idea where I'm going. The map does not give you a very good marker, like GTA style, where you're supposed to go. I'm not really all that familiar with where the A and B locations are or where I need to take the loot. So that stuff needs to be fixed. It's you know, it's chaotic like any other shooter. You spawn, you look up, you get killed, you respawn again. You know, like that kind of stuff happens too.
Right.
But the mechanics of it are very interesting. So you're in a city. You're driving these cars that are very fast, different kinds of cars. So on the police side, you've got a helicopter, you've got your interceptor cars, and you've got motorcycles, okay? And you also have a mobile command center that you can drive around town, and wherever you park that, guys can spawn in it, okay? So it's a mobile spawn point.
If it's this chaotic and this stuff's happening so fast, is there enough time to be like, hey, this looks like a good spot for a command center. Let's park it over here by the hot dog truck. Or, I mean, it sounds to me like it's a little bit like things are happening so fast. Picking out a cute parking place for a command center may not exactly be something that you have enough time for.
Well, this is all where the strategery comes in, because you got to park that mobile command center close enough to the action where you can spawn guys close enough to keep your guys on top of the bad guys so they don't get away with the loot. At the same time, if you drive the command center right up to the location where all the fighting's happening, that thing's going to blow up. You're going to lose your mobile spawn point, and then everybody's going to have to spawn back at the police station. So you definitely
if you spawn back at the police station, then when you spawn, you got to jump in a police car and go to the scene of the crime every time.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Or you spawn in the helicopter, which is also a mobile spawn point.
Now, can you fly the helicopter?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, and it's tough. I know, right? It's just like the Battlefield 4 helicopter. It's got guns on both sides, but you're flying in a city. And, you know, it's not the big, wide open expanses that you're used to in Battlefield games, so you have to watch how you're flying this thing, which makes it real tricky, and it's hilarious because the first time I jump into the helicopter, I didn't have my settings set up right. And I get in, I fly, and immediately crash, you know, and you're like, and as somebody who was flying with you, that's from like, another one of these motherfuckers that can't fly the helicopter, you know. So the action is really fast and furious. So the point A where you take the loot is past a police barricade. The B location, now this is where it gets interesting. The B location is on top of a high-rise. And there's four skyscrapers that you can go all the way to the top in. And what people do, one of the new mechanics in this game is the grappling line. You fire off a crossbow, and you shoot the grappling line from one high-rise to the other, and you can go to the building from there, or you can climb up from the bottom of the building. So
that sounds awesome, man. It sounds exciting. I saw the trailer for it, and I thought the trailer was confusing to me because I was like, "Where's the war?" You know what I mean? Like I didn't understand that they had just changed channels. It wasn't until I went and read about it afterwards that I realized that this is a departure for the Battlefield series, coming off of the actual Battlefield and onto a more urban, more realistic Battlefield, actually.
Well, you know, there's a couple of things about the game. First of all, the cops and the bad guys all have RPGs, which is kind of weird.
You don't see that. You don't see that anywhere ever.
Popo toting their RPGs to take out the bad guys' cars. There
And
is
thank God, by the way, thank
there,
God.
there.
You're like, hey, pull over. I said, okay. I said, pull over.
All right, get the rocket launcher, Greg. So that was a lot of fun. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can expand the beta. You level up, and like in Battlefield games, there's a money component to it. So as you get kills, you get money to upgrade your weapons, and you can buy new weapons and different pieces to use with that. And it also has the 4 classes from the traditional Battlefield games. I liked it a lot. I think it's got some improving to do, but what I played of it, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to Battlefield Hardline.
Man, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you had at least one good beta experience. I got to play something that is just now about to hit shelves. It is an old game. It's now a new game. At E3 this year, one of the first things you saw as you pulled up to E3 to the front of the damn place was this giant food truck that said, "This hero." What does it say? Your hero must be fed, or something like that. It was a gauntlet truck. It was a gauntlet food truck serving turkey legs all day for free out of the back of this food truck. And Gauntlet is back. It's coming back to PC. I'm sure it'll probably make a console debut at some point. But I got a chance to sit down and play Gauntlet with some hands-on help from the developers. They were showing me the game and the things they'd done to it. And if you're worried about Gauntlet becoming something it wasn't before, if you were a fan of the old Gauntlet, you have nothing to worry about. The game is identical in terms of the way that the game plays and the way that they've built and constructed these levels. However, obviously back in the old Gauntlet, you had these mazes where only one guy wide could fit in them in a lot of places. These are more open. They tilted the camera angle slightly so you can see more. It's not just top down, and it's absolutely gorgeous. The game is beautiful.
So you played Diablo, is what you're saying?
Well, you know what? It's actually kind of like, imagine if you. So actually, that's a really good point. So Diablo. To me, is I enjoy Diablo, but there is a barrier to entry to Diablo for me. You've got to really kind of know a little bit more about what's going on and how to use the different points and spells and all these different buttons that you have to keep up with. Whereas Gauntlet is more straight ahead, just like it used to be. You have a power, you have a melee or normal attack, and you have this like special attack that you can do. And basically, I was able to sit down. I was able to sit down and play this game through the whole first level and finish and beat the boss without any problem. So I thought it was fun.
Every week, Doc comes with a game that you play that's just like a game that's out, but it's like super dumbed down, so it's like way easier. Like Hearthstone, it's like Magic with like all that other crap stripped away. It's like super easy. And then he plays basically Diablo, but Diablo is too hard. So Gauntlet, super easy. Next week.
I like the game, asshole. I thought it was a great game. It was super fun. I think you should check it out. And what I really like about it is the price point. It's only going to be like a $12 game on Steam. So for the full game, you'll be able to, for $12, you'll be able to get the full game on Steam.
Is it going to come out on Xbox One or PS4?
I'm not aware of their console plans for that thing. They said it was releasing initially on PC.
So you went to E3 and they got all these different stations. They got Sony, they got Microsoft, they got Nintendo. EA's there.
I know where this is going.
Blizzard's there. Like, all the latest games are there. And Doc walks in, he's like, where the fuck is Gauntlet? I'm playing Gauntlet. Like, that's the game.
It's not the only game I played.
That's what I'm going to tell the masses about.
But I liked it.
Gamer.
It was fun. It was a fun game. I also got to play that hashtag IDARB. Have you seen that?
No, what is that?
It's a game coming out for Xbox One. It's an arcade game, so it's not like a AAA title or anything like that. But basically, this was a game that was developed in collaboration with the community. With that community, I don't know whose community, a community. But this is a game that was established with input. It was kind of built with player input, and essentially, if you can imagine hockey or soccer, but instead of being played on a virtual or on a horizontal battlefield, it's played on a platform or a 2D vertical battlefield where you have to jump up and throw this ball into a hole. Each team has a hole that they have to throw a ball into, but you can beat the shit out of each other while they're trying to do it. So it's super chaotic, super fast. There are some platforms you can jump up through and land on. Some you can't. And I had a good time playing that. That was fun.
It sounds kind of like Super Smash Brothers. You ever play that?
Yeah, I played Super Smash Brothers. Sure.
It seems similar. The platforming, the fighting.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of similar, I guess, but with a ball. It's like if somebody put a ball in Super Smash Brothers.
There you go. There's your elevator pitch for IDAR.
IDAR, hashtag IDAR.
Hashtag IDAR.
So I played that, and then I also I wanted to talk about before we're way over time, but I wanted to talk about my God, someone's getting murdered in your neighborhood today.
Oh yeah, can you hear that? Is that bad? We're live in Chicago, folks.
That's the third time that fire truck's come by your house.
Well, I'm only like I'm like 2 blocks down from the fire department.
Okay. Well, last thing I want to talk about was War Thunder. I've been playing that like crazy. My name on the game is Rainmaker, Raynmayker, because some other douchebag took my preferred name. But I'm having a blast with this game. It's a free-to-play game. It's World War II tanks and planes, like World of Tanks, World of Planes. But I just love the way they've done this. I'm able to run it on a crappy-ass laptop that my wife has with no problems whatsoever. I probably sunk about $15 into just kind of leveling up the airplanes. You can level them up slower if you don't want to pay, but I didn't want to wait, and I like the game, so I wanted to throw some money at the developer. If you get a chance to play War Thunder, I think it's fantastic.
I have questions.
Sure, let's go.
Is it so when you start the game off, how many people are in a match?
It's about 32 people, 16 on a side.
And so is it just like deathmatch, and you can choose whatever kind of aircraft or tank that you want to fly, or how does this work?
Well, so your stable of planes and your tanks that you can fly or drive are basically dependent on what you've unlocked so far in the game. When you first start off, if you go into the arcade mode, you've only got like 3 planes to choose from. I've got them up to like 6 different aircraft, and you can pick which ones are in your hangars as well. So when you go into an arcade battle, you can use any or all of your 6 airplanes. But it's not really a deathmatch. It's mostly defending targets. So you can take an airfield by landing on the airfield and surviving long enough for you to shift the power to you. You have to take out enemy aircraft, anti-aircraft guns, and strategic objectives. It's not deathmatch. It's definitely a different type of beast. There are guys who like me who like being the bomber, and so you're asking for escort, and you're trying to get to the target, trying to punch through all the flak and all the bad guys on the other end, and it's a blast, man. I really like it, and you can play it if you're not a big flight sim fan or you're not real good at flight sims. You can play it on the easier difficulties, or you can fly with people who know what they're doing. I've just started into the simulator side, which is quite a bit more challenging. Even to take off in an airplane is a little difficult. So War Thunder, I feel like, has something for everybody.
So why would you want to play as a simulator when you're playing in a game like that? Why wouldn't you want to have the controls be as easy as possible? What's the benefit of playing simulator?
Because you get rid of the dumbasses who just want to crash their plane into you, number one. And number two, you get rid of the dumbasses that won't go hit the goddamn target that they're supposed to hit. You know, they're in the simulator, when you move up into that level, the fighters know to escort the bombers. Whereas in arcade mode, as soon as the game starts, the bombers are like, all right, I need an escort, and all the fighters are like, I'm going to go fly off into the, whatever, and just like shoot things or whatever when their job is to escort the bombers. So the higher levels you play, the more kind of serious, I guess is the right word, but the more conditioned the players you're playing with are.
So you're saying that the arcade version, the arcade levels, when you play that, it's just kind of a mess.
I use the arcade version to level my planes up. Either one can level your planes up. The more you fly them, the more things you get to unlock on them: compressors, radiators, bigger bombs, paint jobs, all kinds of stuff like that. So the more you fly and those planes, the more you can level them up. And the difference in the arcade is, remember I told you could go in with all 6 of your aircraft. Remember I said that a second ago?
Yeah.
Well, in the simulator or realistic modes, you only get 1 plane, and when your plane's dead, you're done. You don't get anything else. You're done. You're out of the game. You can sit there and watch the end of the game happen, and it could be 45 minutes, but you don't have to. You can scram, and later on it'll just kind of interrupt real quick in the dashboard and say, hey, your other match finished. You won. Here's all your rewards. Yeah. So it's cool. So you can move on to the next one. But arcade, arcade you die, you get to use the rest of your planes in your hangar before you're out.
So let me ask. So in simulator mode, you have your airplane, you're flying, and if you die, you can leave that game, start up a new game. That other game's still going to be playing, and when that game's over with, you get your rewards while you're in a new game?
Yeah, when you get out of your next game. The next time you hit the dashboard after your other game finishes, you get all the gold and silver and the research points that are coming to you for winning the game.
So with the free-to-play model, is it kind of like, because I played a lot of Warframe, and I know we talked about that, and I really liked it. But now I've come to realize that Warframe is basically you have to spend money to win kind of thing. You kind of have to spend money in order to get better equipment. I like the game, but that's kind of the reality of it, and that sucks. $60 worth sucks. But what about War Thunder? Is it, you know, you're making your stuff better, and you're playing against other people who are also making their stuff better. So do you ever feel like you're outclassed by other people?
No, because the way they did it is actually kind of cool. So they have 4 tiers of player, and depending on which planes you bring in, you put into your hangar, it's going to look at what you have and how well you've been flying. And it's going to say, okay, you're a tier 2 flyer, so you only end up flying against people that are about in the same place in the game that you are.
Really?
Yeah, so it keeps it pretty even thus far. I mean, I haven't seen anything majorly weird yet, but I love the hell out of this game. It's so approachable.
What's the lowest tier?
Level 1.
And that's where you're at?
I'm in level 3 on a couple planes. You dick. I walked right into that one. Oh man, well, it's time for someone to start the music. But you gotta fade in. Our high-tech ending for the Sarcastic Gamer 14th episode of the 7th season is here upon us. Lono has done a fantastic job providing this amazing music, and we'll be back next week. If you have anything you'd like to ask the show, send me an email, doc@sarcasticgamer.com or lono@sarcasticgamer.com. We'll be happy to talk to you. As always, Lono, you get the last word.
It's going to suck again next week. Sorry. We're just going to keep going until we fix it.
Bye.
See ya.